When you consider the prenup and the Maher and you are given jewelry and family heirlooms, is to take them as gifts and to be very clear that these are the gifts, because you don't want to be in a situation where I was. Hi, I'm Shaima. I'm a transformational coach, and I empower women to really see their worth and speak from a place of empowerment. So they realize their capability and see where the self-doubt is arising from. And today I would like to talk about is prenups and the Islamic Maher and what that means and the issues that I'm facing as a coach now as I deal with young women. And also I wanted to talk about my experience. So the Maher is what is a prenup obligatory part of the vows if you do the Islamic vows, which is the Nikah. A lot of people follow the country's law, so whatever the civil service is. And so when the divorce happens, the assumption is that whatever the maintenance is, it will be given from there. But a lot of the Muslims in the UK and worldwide, whatever the country's rules are, they also do the Nikah, which is the Islamic marriage. And that also comes with rules and regulations. Not many, but one main one is the Maher, the prenup, the financial agreement that the woman needs to be made at the point of marriage, what she will agree to. What is happening is people are not taking it seriously. This includes women. And my invitation really is for women to look at what is it making them not really step into and ask for what they think is their worth. What do they need in case death happens or divorce happens? And you have to restart your life. You need about a year's financial means to restart, and also consider that you might even be a mom of more than one child. So you've got to be sensible in terms of what you agree. I can speak from my experience, culturally that was not given much of an importance. It was something that was, yes, we need to do it, but it's okay. It doesn't need to be such a big amount or a significant amount, to be honest. And what happens also culturally is that you're given gifts, which is gold jewelry, as part of the Maher. And in many cases, including mine, on both the times, it was the heirlooms that were given. Not all, but some. But as Maher. And so when the divorce happened, the jewelry was asked back. So what I would invite women to really consider is when you consider the prenup and the Maher and you are given jewelry and family heirlooms, is to take them as gifts and to be very clear that these are the gifts and these are not the Maher. The Maher needs to be a separate amount, because you don't want to be in a situation where I was, is when these jewelry pieces are given to you as a Maher and then they're taken back because they're part of the family heritage and they just need it back. So that is one thing I would invite you to consider. The other thing, and this is the invitation for the men, is really to think about when you are deciding on the Maher or when the divorce happens and this comes up, is really look at your attachment to money and abundance and where you're seeing from and what that grip is, because there is such a grip with people on what they're willing to give, which means that they will have to do without. Giving enough so that the woman can start her life, and giving sensibly that will at least a year's means, is quite reasonable. And if you're not willing to do that, especially if there are children involved, you really have to look and do some really inner work and soul searching of how you see abundance and where you don't feel safe that you're gripping on the means of how much you want to give out. And if a woman does agree to give the Maher back because she's taken the divorce, as opposed to the man giving it, because the rules are very different depending on who's initiated it. And if she decides to give the Maher back, it's not because it's the right thing to do. I can speak from my experience that I was so tired and so fed up by the end of the marriage because I'd pretty much I'd given it all and really did not have the strength for another argument or another thing that I have to justify my existence, my place, my worth. And it was so much low on the priority list, lower than anything that I could fight to myself or my child, that I'd given it up. And I don't ever want men to feel that if a woman has done that, it's because she felt it was right to do. The other thing I wanted to express also is when women do return their Maher, a few things go through, and it is a real trigger point. It was a trigger point for me, and I felt like the final sort of slap in the face of really telling me my lack of worth within the marriage and within the family. It was a trigger of the unfairness, pretty much reflected the marriage, which seemed to have continued to the completion of the marriage and thereafter. And I felt very alone because I felt really disappointed by the Ummah as a collective. And that really leads me to talk about, and really my invitation for the Islamic Sharia to step in and do something, more of a collective initiative within the UK. A lot of people, a lot of men and women go and ask for advice from the local mosques and imam. And people will give them advice and knowledge, what their mind has made it mean. And the mind is very limiting. Unless you have done, as an individual, deep soul work and been committed to your own inner work, you really don't understand the Quran and the depth of the holy book. So your beliefs, your speech will come from the point of how much you've gone into depth of your own inquiry, of your being, for you to really understand what the Quran is saying. So instead of it being an individual giving advice, I really invite Islamic Sharia in the UK to do something about this and put something out there. So women and both men have some guidance, a clear guidance on how to deal with the Maher when the woman takes the divorce. And the invitation for all family members. So if you have a daughter going through a divorce or going into a marriage where the Maher is being asked for or calculated or set, or if you have a sister, is to really be the strength and hold the container for them to speak their worth and allow them and encourage them and not just let them dust something underneath. Oh, it'll be okay. Nobody really does this. Nobody takes much attention of this because the future is unknown. We don't know how things unfold. We all hope for the best. Nobody goes into a marriage thinking it will ever get divorced. I certainly didn't. But we get to know things about the family, about ourselves, and as things unravel, and that seems to be the only option, then she needs to have a place where she can stand and pick up her life. So I would really encourage family members to support that and advice and be that space of holding. And my last plea, and it is a plea, is to the mother-in-laws. The mothers of sons, when things start going wrong and divorces happen, I want them to really think about not loyalty towards the son, but as a human being and a representative of the Ummah, and as a collective, and as a woman, to do the right thing and put themselves in that position. and what is fair for somebody who has been part of your family and has been in service to your son and family at large, and the time and the love and the commitment that was given. To really not forget that and speak from a place of love and peace. Because as that chapter comes to an end, the completion of that phase and how it does has an impact on her and your grandchildren, if there are any grandchildren. And if you make it easy for her, you will make it easy for your grandchildren. It is as simple as that.